I thought you might like this.
You got me a gift? I hardly think I've done anything to deserve that. Is it a... That's a Tevinter Chantry amulet. Do you want me to get executed? It's sacrilege to wear those in any land under the Divine.
The Divine condemned their chantry because it freed mages from the Circle. I thought you might sympathize.
I like it. Maybe not on the outside of my clothes. I'm not that eager to face the hangman's noose. But I appreciate the thought. I've never really thought about what life would be like in the Tevinter Chantry. In the Circle, they make it sound like the Void itself. The Black Divine stalking Thedas, making it unsafe for kittens and virgins.
Mages have been free in Tevinter forever. It hasn't fallen yet.
Well, they did invade the Black City in their hubris and unleash Darkspawn on us all, right? That's kind of the Circle's whole rationale. But I think that has more to do with being a Magister than a mage. I appreciate the gift. Perhaps one day I can return one as meaningful. Darktown. No better place to disappear.
Okay, welcome back. Dragon Age 2 with Zoe. Episode 14 getting underway. We got a big action-packed episode planned for you. I apologize, it's going to be longer than normal, but there just isn't really a good place to stop other than where we do. So we've started off, we gave the gift to Anders that we picked up last time when we were doing Fenris's quest line, the Tevinter Chantry amulet. And now that we have Meryl back in the group, we have to clean up a few things. She's going to level up and upgrade Wounds of the Past with Deep Wounds. It makes that spell even more kick-ass. And then if you recall, Anders had slightly altered a couple of his tactics to accommodate Fenris. So we need to get those back to reflect that Meryl is, you know, back in the party. Okay, so we've come to Sundermount, and there are a few things to do here, quest-wise, but we actually aren't working on them. They come along later. What we are doing here is just clearing Sundermount, kind of stalling, basically, getting as much cleared with the core foursome group as we can to get as much XP as we can before we move on.
In my experience, all Dalish women are crazy.
Okay, it's nice of Anders to share that with us. He's just bitter because Meryl's a blood mage. You know, only he can make deals with spirits. Okay, here we got some Dalish tattoo ink.
If you walk the paths of Sundermount, walk softly. Something up there.
And the tattoo ink is for Herbalist Task. It's one of the 3 things he'd like us to collect for him. Speeding up for the vendor here, I'm going to try to save as much time where I can to shorten the length of this episode. Basically just selling, but there's a Toma Technique which will give Zoe an extra talent. There is a gift for Meryl which will increase approval with her. And there's also an armor upgrade for Meryl.
Dalish crafting is second to none, I assure you.
Okay, as for the bonus talent, I'm going to take Claymore. It upgrades Cleave, which is that awesome damage boosting ability for warriors. Basically just extends its duration from 10 seconds to 15 and increases chance to stagger. You mostly take it just for the extended duration. Okay, recently opened passage. What is this place, Devatron?
Not doing anything. Now you fall.
Okay, this place isn't available until Act 2. It's not here in Act 1. And it's a lot of undead. And there's a vendor in here that you have to clear the whole room in order to access. And notice there I disengage Wounds of the Past because that only works on enemies with blood. And because undead don't have any blood, it's just a wasted spell if you cast it on them. Okay, pretty consensus-wide view that that's one of the hardest fights, at least in Act 2, if not in the whole game. Notice the Nexus Golem there with his wares. This is just known as the Nexus Golem fight. The group did really amazing. So let's see what this Golem has to say and to sell.
The gauntlet is past. Only a shape rate brings the light. Conversion begins. The great stores are open. Shape rate. Exchange for what is needed.
A rare thing. No sense in its head and no answers, but useful.
Okay, you'll notice his wares, similar to, say, Black Emporium or Bonnie Lim's wares. Some really nice, really expensive items. Some of the best in the game, in fact. Now, I don't believe we end up buying anything from him in this act or the next. Like the other vendors, he does change his stock in Act 3. But a lot of builds do tend to use things off of that vendor. So you may ask, well then why come here and clear the room if you're not going to buy anything off the vendor? A, bonus XP because we're stalling. And B, when we do the quest Forbidden Knowledge, we're not going to have Meryl in the party, and I'll explain that later. And we need to come to this room and do something else here. So it's better to go ahead and clear the Nexus Golem fight with Meryl in the party, because it's a lot easier. Okay, a nice fight there. I could have done this room first when we initially walked into this area, but I wanted to save it for after the Nexus Golem room in case I wiped on the Nexus Golem room, which I did in fact do, I think, twice. So this way I didn't film that and then go wipe and have to refilm it, you know what I mean? So that's why I saved it for last. As for the Nexus Golem room, why did we wipe twice? It's just a hard room, you know, and sometimes things go wrong. What you saw, I had never really stayed in the room that much. I usually just funnel things into that doorway, that stairway where you enter the big center room, and deal with things little by little. But the group is actually so strong that we killed everything, and it actually stopped combat a couple times in between the waves of undead. That's never happened before. That's just how good this group is. We killed things that quickly, and that turned out to be the better way to do it.
this.
Okay, these next bits are just going to be making our way up Sundermount through the passage, the cave, you know, and then through the graveyard on the top of the mountain. It's all the same as in Act 1, and it really doesn't pertain to anything. It's strictly just getting some items, some experience. I think there's a companion armor upgrade up here, you know, just purely scavenging and stalling. Alright, really hard fight there. The Shadow Assassins followed up by the Arcane Horror. Lost item quest we just picked up there. And poor Anders, he had died in kind of the first wave and then popped back up and then got caught in the Arcane Horror's area effect and died again. So he's actually going to need 2 injury kits to get back to full health. See that? So yeah, just you know, just tough undead stuff up here, man. I like it because it's pretty fun and challenging. The fights are really intense, and you have to respond quickly. Things have to go right. You need good timing. Had a couple good cross-class combos in there. Some nice dispersed detonation action. So yeah. But like I said, just stalling, getting experience, and also just getting a feel for the group as we move ahead. What I'm going to be able to do and what I'm not going to be able to do.
If we had a giant rock to push uphill, this would perfectly sum up my life.
Okay, pretty lucky. This is a nice little loot stash. You get Meryl's upgrade. And that's a second one for her, because remember we bought one off of the vendor. And a pretty nice belt. But yeah, the dragon kind of bugged out. I mean, it was stunned, I think, a little bit from one of the spells. I'm trying to remember. Maybe just shield bash stunned it. I don't know, but it ordinarily doesn't just stand there like that. So I think we got away with one, you know. A little bit of random bugginess that actually worked in our favor for once. Not that the mature dragon right there is that hard. And cold damage is one of the better things this group does. With the two staves I've got, but yeah, it just seemed to kind of bug out, and I'm not sure why, but we got through it, and we will need to kind of come up here, and we would have had to clear all this at some point for Meryl's companion line, but that's not going to be till the very, very end of the act. So we could have maybe saved this, but since we were doing Nexus Golem and we were right here, and we need as much XP as we can get that the party can do right now, you know, That's why I decided to come up here and do all this. But I think it's been fun, you know, really good action, although not for really any quest in particular. Okay, some classic Revenant death grip right as you're about to do friendly fire damage and you kill your own party members. That's what makes them really hard on Nightmare. But, you know, Anders and I just said, to hell with it, we'll duo the rest on our own. Now I edit out the rest of the way down through the passage and over to the zone wall and some vendor selling, just to save time. So we're going to zone right to Meryl's home and give her the gift that we bought her. Let's see how she likes it.
I've got something for you.
Ooh. Did you get this from Master Island? Mythal, did I miss some important occasion? I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to you, I promise.
There's no occasion, Meryl. I just thought you'd like it.
I do like it. I'm sorry I'm making a mess of this. No one has ever given me a present before. Useful things. Tools or clothes. Because I needed them, not just because. Maceranis, I'll find a good place for this.
I hope all is well. May I say again how thankful I am you've allowed Sandor to remain. He seems very happy.
Fine. There. You got a pat. Now will you leave me be? Try to sniff my crotch and I swear I'll stab you. Shoo!
Strange. I figured you for a dog lover.
I don't dislike dogs. I just don't like having my leg humped. At least, not without dinner and a drink. And now I've forgotten what I came here for. Blast. Silly dog.
I think we all know what Isabella really came here for, Dev. Okay, speaking of Isabella, it's time to get her into the party. We're going to be doing a lot of speed ups for the next couple of minutes as I gather equipment for her, buy a rune for her armor. We're going to head over to the Black Emporium, do the respec, you know the drill. Now, what we're going to be doing is not Isabella's companion quest. We're going to be doing a long quest line that is the title of the episode, Forbidden Knowledge.
I saw something nasty in the woodshed.
So, why Isabella? Why don't we just do Forbidden Knowledge with Meryl, right? Well, the thing is, you have to destroy these ancient books, which talk a lot about blood magic, and Meryl really likes blood magic. So, if you destroy books about blood magic, it's going to piss Meryl off. So it's a good way. Some people actually prefer rivalry on certain companions. If you want to build rivalry on Meryl, this is the way to do it. But we don't want that, so we don't want her in the party while we do the various steps of this quest.
You like the shiny?
Now, the quest actually has its roots in Act 1. If you can remember, we were helping investigate some missing Templar recruits, and one had come back and then went away. It turns out they were all last seen at the brothel. Remember we went there?
Look around. So many things to admire.
Well, if you also remember, we spoke with one of the courtesans there called Iduna the Exotic Wonder. And she told us that her sort of mistress, master named Tarone, had enchanted the Templars. And Tarone was basically a blood mage who was dead set on infiltrating the Templar Order with demons. So she was enchanting, by way of Iduna, various recruits, and then getting them to be possessed by demons to sow just, chaos and disorder into the Templar ranks. So if you remember, we killed Iduna. We said, you're just too dangerous to let live. So we killed her. Now, if you let her live, she sends you a letter in Act 2. And that's how you start this quest. She says, hey, there are these 5 evil tomes that have a lot of blood magic knowledge and lore. And Tarhone had scattered these throughout Kirkwall and whatnot in the surrounding areas, and you probably shouldn't let them just sit there. They could fall into the wrong hands, etc., etc. Well, because we killed her, you can still do the quest to go hunt down these evil tomes, but you have to just come upon the tomes. They're in the same spots, it's just you have to go and click on them. Okay, and each time you click on them, you have the option to read the book or destroy it or leave it alone. Now, if you read any of the first 5, you get, I think, a couple attribute points, and the quest is over. That's it. Well, if you destroy the first 5, the quest updates and reveals this sort of secret underground kind of like temple, and you can go and there's a 6th tome there and a whole bunch of demons and like a boss, and that's what we want. This way you get more experience. If you read the 6th book and take the book's deal, you still get the 2 bonus attribute points, but you also get to kill all the extra demons, the boss, and there's this really, really nice staff. It's a blood magic staff. It does fire damage, which isn't great, but it's one of the best staves in the game. So it's a good one for Meryl. So that's Forbidden Knowledge, and that's what we're doing for the rest of the episode. And like I said, because we want to destroy the evil tomes along the way and wait for the very last one to read them, we don't want Meryl in the group because it'll make her angry each time we do, and it'll generate rivalry. So instead, I decided to go with Isabella because as auto attack, melee companions go, she's pretty darn good. She's, hopefully I discussed in the intro, she's kind of a duelist type of rogue, and she has just insane defense, so she can actually tank, and she can do pretty good damage. And I have her just sort of set up in this like speed build, just attack as fast as possible and stuff like that. So now that we got our respec done, we're off to hunt down the first evil tome.
I have 14 different reports to rewrite by the end of the day.
Very bad for my morale.
Don't touch anything. I've arranged all of the papers alphabetically.
Good day, Sir Hawke.
So I think come to me and I'll take you to places you've never been.
Isabella, are you talking to Bianca?
I think she deserves to feel a woman's touch on her trigger, don't you?
Bianca responds to my touch. She'd never give it up for you.
That's what they always say, and I always prove them wrong.
Stop it. You're confusing her. And me.
And like Fenris or Aveline, it's nice having another companion in the group for their banter, especially Isabella. She's particularly, you know, risque and provocative and kind of spicy, you know. One of the downsides to Nightmare not being able to use whoever you want is you miss out on a lot of that. So yeah, you get the idea. Each time you destroy one of the evil tomes, a bunch of badass demons comes out, and they're pretty pissed that you destroyed the tome. So you do need someone competent, and again, that's why I chose Isabella. I mean, you know, Aveline or Fenris would have been fine too, but I kind of like Isabella just because she's Hawke's, Zoe's girlfriend at this point, and we haven't heard her banter or had her in the party yet. You know what I mean? So I like her, and also, as you can see just from 2 of the books so far, the fights aren't that hard. Running 2 rogues is fine. As long as I, just like with Fenris, as long as I don't friendly fire whack her with my own attacks, then we're good. Okay, next stop is the Bone Pit. We don't have any quests here right now. We will later. But the zone is still here. And as far as the location of these tomes, even if you let Iduna live in Act 1 and you start the quest via her letter, or not, you know, even if you do it that way or the way we're doing it, it's another kind of Easter egg type quest. There's no indication where these tomes are, so again, this is 2011. It's a little bit of the old school hardcore gamer, the power gamer kind of stuff where the games, they didn't spoon feed you everything, and only the dedicated, we're going to scour every corner of this game world kind of gamers would find this stuff out, and then they'd post it and we'd all learn about it, but whatever. So yeah, that's why we're here. Just some random little cave marked cave, you have no other indication that this is why you're here. Okay, fun fact, if you see me ground targeting to move around, that usually means I'm either sipping coffee or taking, a huge vape hit with my other hand while I'm playing. So keep that in mind when you start to see me, click the ground with the mouse to move instead of using the keyboard like you're seeing here.
What makes this relic of yours so valuable?
The same thing that makes anything valuable. Someone's willing to pay for it.
That's not evasive.
Look, I didn't get where I am by showing my hand,
No, your hand isn't what I hear you've been showing.
Okay, as for the Sword Coast, similar to the way I did it in Act 1, I'm going to save up a bunch of quests and then hit them all at once in a kind of a fell swoop master plan toward the end of the act. But I do have to come here now for this evil tome. There's one in a cave. Not sure if you totally remember the lay of this map. It's a little circuitous, but there was a cave where the Talvashoth, the rebel Kunari, were hanging out in Act 1, and we had to hunt them down. We did it at the behest of Javaris so that he could try to get some traction with the Aeroshock. So it's in that same cave, but the cave is totally a different map. It's just a small room. And there's actually more than just the demons with the book in there that we have to fight. So doing it, without Meryl isn't that much harder, but it does make it something of a challenge. So this will be fun. Okay, just a dragon, not a mature dragon, but still a dragon. With a pretty tough breath weapon. But yeah, nobody died. I was really pleased with that. Pretty good fight there. Okay, now we're on to, I believe this is the 4th evil tome. Okay, so our first challenge there, a couple people died, but notice it's the first time this particular setup has had to deal with a revenant. And the revenants just always make things hard, you know. Their death grip pulls, fragile casters in, pushes them into friendly fire melee range a lot of the time. They have stuns. They're just tough customers, Dev. There's no way around it. But we got through it. Zoe gets a level up, upgrading might, so that sustainable will also give a bonus 25% to critical damage. And that's a pretty big chunk of bonus. And you know, hopefully you can see the stalling, I'm calling it, you know, the putting off these other quests that seem urgent and breaking immersion in order to do a few other things is starting to make sense, because we're getting a level, we're getting a little bit stronger, and it really will help.
Do you ever have any regrets?
About what?
Anything? Everything? I can't figure you out.
The past's past. I learned that young. If it can't bring you gold or giggles, what's the point in dwelling on it?
Maybe the chance to fix a mistake? Make things right again?
Hey? Our mistakes make us who we are.
That was almost profound.
Okay, and back to Sundermount, where we started the episode. Recall we cleared the Nexus Golem room. And I don't know if you noticed when we were there before, the evil tome was there on the floor in the room. And we could have picked it up, but yeah, obviously we didn't want to do that because Meryl was with us. So doing the Nexus Golem fight without Meryl and having Isabella, I've tried that and it's really, really hard. So that's why I decided in this playthrough to do it the way we did it. Now all we're going to have to do is walk in, the place will be clear, just click the evil tome, do the little fight, and we can move on, you know what I mean? So much, much easier doing it this way. Okay, much better handling of the Revenant that time. Moving the party much further away from him at the beginning of the fight really helped with the death grip. They didn't get gripped in, so made the whole rest of the fight much more manageable. And we got some level ups. Varric's going to take Kickback. It's just a really boss, knock you on your ass, high damage shot from Bianca. Later it gets upgraded to Detonate Stagger, I believe. And then for Anders, he's going to upgrade Heal to Greater Heal. So that's going to now heal 80% of the bar, not just 40%. And because of these changes and more tactic slots, and also we're about to get rid of Isabella and have Meryl come back, there's going to be several tactic changes here. And so I speed up the film a little bit in order to save time. As for Varric, what we're doing is basically just like his pinning shot two-part tactic, but instead of targeting enemies using a melee attack, Kickback is going to target enemies using ranged or magic. So otherwise it's the same. It's protecting the back line. So enemy attacking Anders, use this condition for the next tactic. Enemy using ranged or magic attack, cast Kickback. And then I repeat that for Meryl and Varric. That's all it is. And it's a nice way to set up Kickback because ranged or magic users will get knocked on their back and won't be able to, shoot their bow or cast their spell. So it's a pretty nice way to deal with that. Later, once it's upgraded and it detonates Stagger, we might change it. As for Anders, because the heal is now healing a bigger part of the bar, I lower the threshold to 25%. So, and I also have more tactic slots, so I'm able to give him his own heal spell tactic slot. Before we were just working with a heal potion on him, if you remember, which was working fine, but now he'll actually cast heal on himself when his vengeance is deactivated. And like I said, it's 25%, so himself, Varric, and Hawke, health 25% cast heal, but that's basically it for him. Okay, we're going back to Hightown now. We're going to sell off, reform the party with Merrill, and then go find the 6th book.
Hello? Is Anders there? Can I speak to Anders?
You can stop yelling. It's always me.
Oh, good. I didn't want to talk to that other guy. You know, the stick in the mud.
He can still hear you. Justice and I are one. Anyway, you wanted to talk to me?
Not really. I just wanted to make sure it was you.
So wealthy, could use a new pair of boots, yes?
I like the Chantry. This is the only place in Hightown where the Merchants Guild won't come looking for me.
I think I found something of yours.
How did you... No, I don't want to know. Just thank you.
Okay, a nice lost item turn in there. Gave Isabella enough experience to level up. And notice I put her attribute points into willpower. Could probably get more stamina with items and whatnot, but who cares? We don't use her that much, right? But yeah, running 3 sustainables left her with a pretty tiny stamina pool, and in fact it wasn't enough to cast all 3 abilities that I have her set up with: backstab, twin fangs, and cross the bow. So that's why I chose willpower there. It's not really critical because we're going to get Meryl back in the party right now anyway. But all in all, I thought it was really successful. It was nice having her in the group, and we did really well.
Welcome home, Miss Eyre. Mistress Amel just returned not long ago herself, I believe.
A fascinating breed. Such intelligence and strength. Do you ever wonder what he thinks about?
I'm not always sure I want to know.
Are you aware that this breed originated in Tevinter? The Magisters bred them. It said the Mabari defected during the Imperium's invasion of Ferelden. Merely a tale, but I rather like the idea they found the barbarians more palatable than the mages. Exactly so. Let's hope your hound doesn't take after his ancestors too strongly, hmm?
An elven slave? Maker's breath, I hope you know what you're doing.
Okay, we're going to reform with Meryl and head to Darktown and find this last evil tome, but recall Lily of the Coterie was looking into why Brecker was attacking Hubert's and Zoe's bone pit shipments. Well, that's going to trigger as soon as we go here right now, so just let it play out, but don't be confused by it.
Don't let them get away!
You Coterie, one of Lily's friends.
Lily was one of ours. She was working for you, and now she's dead. You get one chance. Did you kill her?
Lily didn't die by my hand. Someone else did this.
Explain yourself.
Present minor misunderstandings aside, I believe our purposes are the same. One of the scum that attacked my caravans worked for someone in the coterie named Brecker. Lily said she'd look into it. I think Brecker had her killed.
Brecker, If you're lying, I'll find you. Men, we have to get to the bottom of this. Now.
Okay, sorry for that being in there. I would have preferred to have that cutscene be right at the beginning of next episode when we're going to actually do the inside job quest the rest of the way, but the entrance to the evil pit where we need to go now is just right next to that, so we couldn't avoid it. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Meryl gets a level up, okay? She takes Winter's Grasp, and this is the kind of spell that a lot of people take really early. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's a great spell. It does a lot of damage. It doesn't cost that much mana. And it has a crowd control element. I believe it slows enemy attack speed and their movement speed. So nothing wrong with taking it sooner than later. But, you know, for my build and the master plan, it wasn't able to get in until now. Now you see how I set it up. It's enemy attacking the back line, cast a spell. And again, a lot of people just do something like enemy target a Hawke, Winter's Grasp. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's going to be more damage output for Meryl in the long run doing it that way. But doing it this way, she doesn't cast herself to death. Because remember, her spells are fueled by her health. And then also, it's only there to protect the back line, and that crowd control element, the movement speed and attack speed decrease, that's going to get put on something that's attacking the mages or the rogue. You know, that's where you want it. So it's a more conservative, but I think a more optimal, more efficient use of that spell. Okay, so you see there's the evil pit entrance. We're heading in. Let's go find this last evil tome, Devatron.
Everyone stay still and try not to make any loud noises. I love doing that.
Oh, this will be fun! May the creators have mercy on us!
Someone's left a surprise here for us.
Watch where you step.
We're good to go.
Okay, in case you're wondering, some of these pressure plates like those are undetectable, undisarmable, so you just have to eat them. Okay, so here we go, the Fell Grimoire. This is the final tome. And notice this time Zoe's going to read the book and accept the deal. And after that, all hell's going to break loose, so buckle up, Devatron. Alright, super tough, super fun, hands down, that is the hardest fight in the game of all 3 acts. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way to stay in the room and beat it. I've tried. I've never gotten that on the first try. This was probably 3 or 4 attempts before I filmed it successfully. You have to run back here and cheese it like this. And you'll see we actually didn't even get them all. There's a couple still in the room. But really tough. And you see here on the name Desire Demon's Corpse, Veracity. This is why you do the quest this way. You don't take the book's deal before now, because you don't get the staff if you do it that way. Really great fire staff and good for Meryl. Alright, that'll do it. They're all dead. Great quest line, very hard quest line. I hope you enjoyed it. and I hope it was worth the extra time on the episode. This is Zoe signing off. Dragon Age 2. We'll see you next time.